Welcome, and thanks so much for tuning in to the Washington Center's pre-arrival experience. We've made this recording and other recorded pre-arrival programs available to fit your schedule and support you in your professional development, transition to DC, and equip you with all you need to know about the Washington Center. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, my name is Jopanda.
I'm Katie Mount, and we're both internship advisors here at the Washington Center.
We want to introduce you to our amazing student panel in which we get to speak with 4 current interns and students here at the Washington Center.
So you're going to hear from Olivia, Chelsea, Melissa, and Matt. As they're closing out their semester, they provide their own insight into what their internship experience has been like. So we hope that you all find this resource just as helpful.
All right.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us for our current student panel. You are going to have the opportunity to ask questions and really hear from students such as yourself who are finishing out their semester, so it's fresh in their heads about what they are going to recommend, and they can really kind of tell you about things that maybe they've even done this week or what their average day is like. So we're going to get started. I'm going to just ask some questions just to kind of get the conversation rolling. But in the meantime, think of some questions you want to ask, and then we'll turn it over to the audience. So I just want to start off by having our panelists introduce themselves. So why don't we begin?
Okay. Hi, my name is Olivia Edwards, and I'm a student from Pennsylvania. I go to Lebanon Valley College, and I'm studying political science and international relations. My internship site is City Global Government Affairs, so I'm an international lobbyist.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Gillespie, and I am from Little Rock, Arkansas. I go to school at Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, Texas. I am a senior strategic communications major with a gender studies minor. And my internship site is Magnify It, and it's a startup that helps nonprofits with their online giving systems. So I do the PR and the communications.
And I'm Melissa Christensen. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I attend NATE, Northern Alberta Institute of Technology, and I am completing a Bachelor of Technology in Technology Management. And my internship place is Inscape Publico, which is a small nonprofit architecture firm. And they help nonprofits realize their brick and mortar dreams. And I do a little bit of architecture for them, and then I do what are media relations development things, and then some of the other kind of graphic material that we need.
What's up, guys? I'm Matthew Brumbaugh from Juniata College in Pennsylvania. I'm currently a senior. My internship site is at the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police with the Narcotics and Special Investigations Division.
Thank you all. So let's get started with the first question. So obviously, you're all coming from kind of the classroom setting, and for some of you, this may have been your first 9-to-5 experience. So what was maybe the most difficult part about transitioning from that classroom setting to 9-to-5 for you all? And what kind of tips would you have to overcome that?
So this wasn't my first 9-to-5 setting. I worked on the Hill all summer, and so I was very used to the long hours. But I think the TWC experience, you have to realize that you don't have class time in between to handle your personal emails maybe, or your personal life. So big tip, take care of your work at home the night before, and you can't worry about it because it's a professional internship.
I'd say the same thing. Just make sure that you prioritize your time really well. Also, be busy. Like, don't sit at your internship and not do anything. You don't have anything to do. Find something to do during that 9-to-5 time. So yeah, that's really important.
Similar to Chelsea, I would say, find ways to keep yourself busy. When you're on your own schedule for assignments and things like that, you can do them when you're not in class and whatnot. But sometimes you will be waiting for something from a boss, and sometimes what they have you working on is a little bit lower priority or just a later priority. So yeah, take initiative, find stuff to do.
So my job is not 9-to-5. Unfortunately, drug dealers do not work on a 9-to-5 schedule. So I work a lot of swing shift, usually like a middle shift, like 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 3 to 11 or 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. guess my biggest advice is to get on a normal sleeping pattern. It really helps. It's not like college, you're in a professional setting, so you actually have time to catch up on rest when you need to.
So I actually wanted to do a follow-up to something that you had said, Melissa. You said that sometimes some of the things that interns can be doing are maybe on the lower end of that priority line. So what kind of tips do you guys have for maybe finding value in some of those maybe administrative tasks, or was it kind of difficult for you all to be excited about those types of things?
Yeah, I can take that. So yeah, you may be doing things that are a little bit lower on the priority list, like admin things, like Katie said, and you have to kind of choose that you're going to join, and maybe that's just a matter of seeing how efficient you can be at it, how thorough you can be, because it's kind of in those basic tasks that you prove yourself to your boss, and if they see that you take initiative and you get things done and you ask only necessary questions, your responsibility and your character kind of will show through, and so that may kind of open doors for bigger projects.
Great. So what's something that you wish that you knew before arriving in DC, and did anything really surprise you?
You start that?
Yeah. It's expensive. Shopping for groceries is about 2 times above the national average. I'm a big person. I weigh 230 pounds, so I eat a lot, and I eat very healthy, so it's difficult for me to budget eating. So I guess I wish I knew how to finance better, probably, prior to coming into this experience.
I guess that's what you learn when you're here, and I think I've found some of my friends that if this is their first time away from home, they're really learning how to, if maybe their parents have been doing their laundry for them and cooking their meals, so you really learn to take care of yourself, which is cool. Just on the kind of expensive note, I knew that I'd be paying for Metro and things like that, and while you factor in during the week, like Monday to Thursday, you forget about the errands that you're running on the weekend, or when you're doing outings and things like that. So just plan in a little bit extra for Metro because it goes kind of fast.
I would say the same. It's expensive, budget. I would say come here with maybe 3,000. Maybe 35, depending on 3,500, depending on what type of person you are. Because there's a lot of things that you want to do. Like, I went to New York 3 times while I was here. So, one of the times I didn't necessarily have to pay for it, but I went 3 times. So, but there's cheap ways to do things. Like, when you do take those trips, you can take boat buses or things like that, and they can be $50 or $1. It depends on when you get it. Also, one more thing, I wouldn't say it's okay not to come in not knowing exactly what you want to do once you graduate or once you leave the program, because you'll probably find I'm pretty sure you will find a lot of things that you're interested in, or you may change your mind on your whole what you want for your career. So don't be afraid of that either.
And one other DC tip, I think I found the power of networking huge here. I'm in the field of government relations and kind of politics. So I took advantage of every networking opportunity I could. I tried to go to lunch with one networking opportunity each week. So DC things, you realize the power of happy hour. And if you're not 21, don't worry, because there are plenty of organizations around town that will invite you over so you can meet new people. So DC tips, happy hour if possible, and just trying to get to know everyone you come in contact with.
Great. Those are all really, really great things to share for our incoming students. So I wanted to ask, because the internship is clearly a big part of why you all joined us. So how has this internship really experienced or influenced your career path and your future goals?
So I completely changed my career path to an extent when I got here. I came in with a decent amount of prior experience in politics as a young person, and I decided that I really wanted to try the international sphere, and my great internship supervisor found something in the private sector. So the private sector and trade is very different sometimes. from the Hill or legislative office or just your typical local government office. And essentially, this internship opened my eyes to grad school over law school. It opened myself up to maybe getting an international grad degree when I was deciding at undergrad if I liked international affairs or politics more. So it's really helped me understand what I value in the workplace as far as work-life balance. It makes me value what I like learning about, because life is a lifelong learning process for me. It's not a 9-to-5 job. I want to love what I'm doing. So I'm very thankful to have taken an internship that was maybe a little different than what I studied in school.
Okay, well, you said everything, basically. But what was the question again? I'm sorry.
So, how has your internship experience influenced your career path or your goals?
Okay. Yes, Olivia did say everything, but same year I came in and I was dead set on working in the nonprofit sector, which I still want to do, but I realized like what I value, things I want, and how I want to live, like once I graduate. So I work at a company that's not a nonprofit, but they help nonprofits. So I've learned to kind of find the good in whatever I'm doing, like as long as it matches my values and things I'm interested in. It's okay if it's not a nonprofit. Just because, you know, I wanted to be a financial services advisor doesn't mean I'm like scamming people out of their money. Like I'm helping them learn how to save it. So things like that, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
So for me, I mentioned that I work at a nonprofit architecture firm. They are the only of their type in DC, and there are similar sorts of organizations around. It's kind of a grassroots thing that's coming up with like public interest design, things like that. So being here, I come from a corporate architecture background. So being here with this small firm has really opened my eyes to more possibilities of things that I can do when I go back to Canada. And it's also created a bit of a network and a support group for me, just realizing that there are people out there that are passionate about something that isn't as popular as it could and should be, I guess. And so I've been quite inspired by seeing the people that I work with too. I don't know if I want to stay in the nonprofit, but I've definitely appreciated learning. You have to really take initiative, and it seems that people in the nonprofit sector work a lot harder, or they have to work a lot harder to reach financial goals and other goals. And one other thing I wanted to say is nonprofits, they don't seem very big, and they're really big things here. They aren't in other places, and so yeah, it's just a cool avenue to explore, and whether it's for your internship or for your direct service hours.
So I guess a little background on me. I didn't know if I was going to do this internship or not. I suffered a bad knee injury from football last year and kind of had to decide if I wanted to risk my career for another year of football or develop professionally. So I did that. I came down here. I knew since I was about 13 that I wanted to go into law enforcement. I took this opportunity. I came down. And it basically strengthened my, my career goals and everything, to come in and, work up the ladder. People tell you that, local law enforcement isn't a good area to get into, that you want to get into the state or federal level. But any good cop is going to tell you that if you want to make it to the federal level, that you need to start at a local level. And being in DC, it's interesting because you can get on a task force and end up working for the FBI or the CIA or Homeland Security as a metropolitan police officer as well.
Yeah, that's very exciting. So I think a lot of times students are really nervous to come to DC, especially because we really kind of drive this idea into your head of that a first impression is a lasting one. And so maybe you guys were a little nervous about your first day, but what kind of tips would you give these students for coming in to making that first day a really successful one?
I guess be polite, introduce yourself, practice proper manners, stuff like that, you know, lay out your schedule, lay out when you're available right away, so they know what to expect of you as an intern, and you know what to expect of them as an employer. That's, you know, that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about is, you know, just be polite.
A couple things that kind of go without saying, like listen, be willing to do things. But a big thing I think is be confident when you show up. Yeah, you're new and you may be doing things you've never done before, but you did get here for a reason. You are capable, and so just be confident in that. But at the same time, be willing to say, hey, I haven't done that before, or I'm not completely comfortable. I'll try, but just so you know, if you put that disclaimer out there, it's better to under-promise and over-deliver than over-promise and under-deliver.
Sorry. Nope. To add on to that, I mean, don't be afraid to just jump in. My first day, I wrote my first investigation for the police department, and I mean, it was not good, but you know, I missed a lot of information and everything else. But you just, you know, don't be afraid to, you know, everybody says test the waters. Well, you know, testing the waters is good in some situations, but just jump in the pool and get your feet wet. You know? So.
Co-sign with both of them. Also, look nice. Look nice. Well, you have your dress code. Like, I can wear jeans. I can wear anything I want to, as long as like I don't have a meeting. So be conscious of that if you're supposed to be business professional or business casual. Also, just remember, kind of like what they said, your employer isn't expecting you to come in and know everything. So it's okay to ask questions. Set the tone when you get there. Like Matthew said, talk about what you expect from each other, and just be calm. It's okay. It'll be great.
Those are all great advice. I should have taken those on my first day. So my internship's all professional all the time. This is the first day in a long time I haven't had to wear a blazer first thing in the morning. But just a couple other things. Remember names in your offices, especially if your office is incredibly small. You need to know everyone. It's probably going to be more intimate. And if your office is quite large, remember who's important, who you're going to go to when you need to ask questions. I find that they enjoy when you're really engaged in the office as well as your work. And if you do all the business professional job and you're not used to an incredibly professional setting, don't worry. Watch everyone and ask your supervisor or ask that next person up the ladder what you should do in a situation. I didn't know how to mingle properly with someone of another culture. I had to ask what to do first, and I learned how deeply to bow and things like that. But those little things really go a long way.
Okay, those are all really, really great tips. And so the next question, and then I'm going to turn it over to the audience. So I encourage the audience to start writing in questions. There's a questions box that you can just type them in, and we'll address them. So feel free to type those in. My question for you all is, in what ways did you take advantage of DC events and expanding your network? You had already talked about that, Olivia, that how you kind of try to do something every week, and we encourage you all to do things like informational interviews. But what other types of experiences are out there for young professionals?
So I'll just briefly say something else I did do. Every time you go to an event and you here in DC, you need pockets because you're going to pass your business card around. And ladies, I know we don't get pockets, so find some type of small card holder. It really helps. But basically, I would go home after every meeting, anytime I took a card, and go on my LinkedIn and search for that person on the LinkedIn if I made a good impression. And I would, at the end of the week, look and see who I really wanted to get to know, whose business I liked, or who could maybe offer me new information, and I just asked them to lunch. I'd meet up anywhere within a 3, 5 to 10 block radius of my work for lunch, grab a quick bite, and just talk to them. Didn't ask for a job, but just talk to them, and that really helped.
Okay. There's also like a lot of free stuff for you to do. You can go to like the museums and Smithsonian's and all of that stuff. And I found that I just meet people. Just like I don't feel like Washingtonians are that mean. You know, there's the perception like that here, I guess, on the East Coast, that people are a little colder, especially being from the South. And they were to an extent, but it was like it wasn't bad. I still get hi, how are you doing? How are you doing and stuff like that. So definitely take advantage of all of the free stuff, all the tours. There's always something going on in DC, which I love. Like if somebody is performing on a street corner, there's like a lot of people crowded around. Go watch if you want to. You might meet someone. Who knows? I always have a business card on you. I always look nice. Like you never know around here.
Good tips, both of you guys. I wish listening to Olivia over here, I wish I knew this stuff before. I would say it goes really fast, you guys. So if there's things that you know you want to do, like knock them off the list as close as you can to the beginning. There's a couple things that I was like, oh, I'm in this trail. I'll just go check out the Kennedy Center right now, and I'm glad that I did because suddenly it's like last couple of weeks. You're trying to cram things in, and like Chelsea said, ask questions. And back to just things about surprising us about DC. It is a really chill city. I've spent time in some big cities, some posh cities, and it's a really laid back city. So don't be intimidated.
I feel like they hit all the points, but yeah, take advantage of what's available to you. There's some websites that I know our group of interns created a Facebook page, and I assume that will happen for you guys. Somebody posted a website of everything that happens in DC each and every day, and just take a look at that website once in a while. There's other websites that, if you want to get involved in like a soccer club or like, play soccer on the National Mall on Saturdays, there's other websites like that to, get you involved and see the city. I'm in a fortunate position that I'm out on the streets patrolling 4 days, every single day of my internship. I'm out of the office, I'm doing things. Not always in the best parts of the city, but I have been around the whole city and done things around the whole city. Just, really try to take advantage of it. Network, LinkedIn, try to get some phone numbers, keep in contact, really keep in contact with the people who are at your internship site when you need letters of recommendations, and whatever else you may need in the future for potential employment or graduate school, whatever it may be.
And I'm sorry, you go.
Is yours related to him? Mine's a little off.
No, you go.
Okay. Just another quick tip. TWC is great because all your faculty and staff and speakers here are so accomplished and so well connected. So after every speaker, after lead, which you'll learn about later, after even your academic course, my academic professor here, he's been wonderful. He's connected me to the Obama administration, which was something I never thought I would get to accomplish here, even though they're right down the street from my work. And they all have connections. So talk to them about your goals, talk to them about what you love to do, and I guarantee you they'll know someone, and they'll have someone who will sit down and talk to you no matter how young you are.
Close line enough, Matthew, with building those relationships. Like, don't be afraid to follow up with people because people are busy around here. They're like going 24/7, and sometimes they do just forget. So just send in an email like, hey, I met you then like a while ago. I just wanted to see if we could meet up, something like that. That's definitely beneficial. I had to email someone 5 times. Maybe I should have stopped, but I had to email her 5 times, and they were kind of like in between, like, because I had been corresponding with her over the summer, and she was just like, I've been busy. She's like an executive director or something, so it worked out. So be persistent, not annoying, but persistent. So
Definitely keep those relationships open, guys. I'm fortunate. I like to talk to people in law enforcement. So, if I'm roaming the streets and I see an officer, I just go up and talk to him. That's just who I am. But every morning at my internship, I go in and I train with our SWAT team. Um, and for like 2 hours, I hang out with these guys every morning. And one day I saw them in the hallway, and I was like, just off the cuff, I wasn't doing anything in my office, so I was like, hey, what are you guys doing today? They're like, oh, we're running some training missions. Do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, why not? So, like last week it was, I got to practice active shooter in a building scenarios with our SWAT team and actually, run the role of the officer going through the building, clearing it out. So that was, that was pretty cool. So.
One other thing that I wanted to add, you guys, you'll find this out, you have to do some direct service hours. You have to put in a minimum of 5 volunteer hours. I've done a little bit more than that, just kind of out of interest, but some of the groups that I've helped out with, back on my feet was a running group that transitions on homeless people off the streets and things like that. But it's those runs in the mornings that I go on, and it's the other volunteering that I do. That's what kind of a lot of meaning into my time here, and kind of really put down roots here. And it's sad to pull those up, but don't be afraid to do more than your 5 hours of volunteer stuff if it's something that you're interested in, because it'll add to your time here.
You all talked quite a bit about your internship experience and kind of some things that you've done outside of the internship, but there's a lot of other components that we have. So maybe can you all tell us about your course and just go a little bit about the type of work or things that you've been studying in your class.
Okay, I'm taking a class that has a really long name, Business in Washington, sorry, I don't even know what it is because it's so long. It's essentially the new economic reality of how businesses work with politics. And my professor works for the Obama administration, works at the Environmental Protection Agency, so he's very well connected, he's been around for a long time, and we do real-time policy projects. And we present these every 2 weeks to real members of lobbying groups, staffers from the Hill, and various people from all over Washington. So these are real-time professionals grading your work. This isn't just a course with one professor. And I found it incredibly relevant, and it's great practice. They didn't sugarcoat any of our feedback. But overall, I've learned not only in my internship how to act in the professional field that I want to get into, but also in my class.
So my class is, it's called Journalism in the Media, something along those lines. But I'm a strategic communications major, so it's PR and advertising. So it's different from journalism. But if I was a journalism student, it's been it would be like super beneficial for my career path because the professor is very knowledgeable. She works high up in the AP. If anyone that's familiar with journalism, that's like a huge newswire. And that's where we have our class. It's from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. So it is a little long, a little tasking when you've been at work all day. But it's discussion based. We've read a very interesting book. She like relates journalism to like real life situations that's been going on and things like that. So it's very interactive, and she has a lot of knowledge, which is very helpful.
So I'm in the entrepreneurship course. I think it's coming up from ideas to action, and we, as a class, we host a pitch competition, which happens about 2/3 of the way through the semester. So there is some theory. We do have a textbook that we go through, but then you're split into teams: a media team, a fundraising team, to event management team, things like that. And so you're getting this kind of hands-on / mock experience of, excuse me, what it takes to put an event together, which is where you get your students who come in and they pitch their ideas, and then you have a panel that comes in and they choose a winner, things like that. So it's been really eye-opening in some senses what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and it pairs well with my nonprofit development work. So.
My class is Essentials for Aspiring Leaders. don't know, I just kind of took it off the cuff. Why not? You basically learn leadership practice, leadership styles, and then every class, our professor has basically a workshop to allow you to practice your leadership, learn the kind of leader you are, learn your emotional intelligence, which is like a good way to, kind of figure out where you stand on the leadership scale. I guess I took it because, everybody can be a leader. And it's just a matter of how you apply those skills. I guess, in law enforcement, everybody has to be a leader. Even the little guy has to be a leader when it comes down to it, and I found that out in my internship program. So taking this course is, helping me to get to that next step to become a sergeant or a lieutenant, captain, maybe a chief somewhere someday. So that's kind of what I was trying to get out of the class when I took it.
Okay. So we have some questions coming in, and so one question was, how do you balance things like the programming, the internship, and the classes?
It's just time management, guys. I'm used to it. I played 3 years of varsity football at the college level, which when you figure out time for practice, time for rehab, time for film watching, time for getting workouts in and class time, you're talking a full-time job on top of your class and your classroom. So it's just, it's hard, yes, but you got to get used to it. If you have to go to bed at 11 and wake up at 4:30, you got to do what you got to do to get the work done.
And just to add to that, just being diligent, you're eventually going to run out of socks and underwear and things like that. And so just kind of maybe looking, I think, at least for like me and my roommates, this isn't something we touched on at all in this hotel, but just communication with your roommates, something simple as like, I need to do laundry, and I know I'm going to need to do it in a couple of days or whatever, just like kind of gauging where your roommates are and things like that. But Saturdays and Sundays or Sunday nights, kind of, if you can get into a bit of a routine as quickly as possible, that'll help you. So whether it's, I do a lot of my grocery shopping in between our lead sessions on Friday morning and the professional track in the afternoon, just slower time. And then, Sunday night is maybe finishing up laundry and things like that. So just kind of prioritize the things you need to get done. And sometimes you might be throwing in a load of laundry at 10:30 or 11 right before you go to bed and hanging it up in the morning or drying it in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely very doable on prioritized. For me personally, I have the most free time here that I've had like in the last 2 years of college. Because at school I have 2 to 3 jobs. I'm in a sorority. I'm in another organization. So I literally never have like downtime. So if you do, like they said, definitely prioritize your time. You can definitely use that time to go do things that you want to do as well. Also, be aware that you may have an internship where you have work outside of work. So just keep that in mind. And we do have homework for our night classes also, but it's not too tasking. My class anyway. So just get the assignments done early. Read all of that, and you'll be good.
And just real quick, I think the biggest advice I can give you about time management is talk to, like we said, talk to your roommates. Also talk to your friends. Make a wide array of friends. So that way when you do have free time, you can go out and you can go see something with someone that you maybe don't see every single day, and that's totally fine. And when you do have free time, I think the best thing you can do in Washington is make your free time meaningful. So whether that's volunteering or seeing a site, go do something that has relevance to your passions. And if you don't know what your passions are, go try something totally new. I think the first thing I did here the first day I got here was I got lost. I got on the metro for the first time. I got off at a random stop and I walked around. No Google Maps, turn off your phone, you'll be okay. It's a really walkable city. So just make your free time meaningful, and I think it'll all come to fruition.
So you guys were talking about roommates, we're talking about maybe kind of building those relationships, doing some fun things. So we can kind of answer those questions in a few different ways. So how about, what are some of the fun things that you guys do in DC, maybe in your spare time? Do you have any recommendations for people coming to DC?
You're 21. Thursday nights at a bar on Circle called the Front Page. Very good deals. It is very expensive if you like to go out and have fun in DC. The first night I went out to a bar, the draft beer was like $7 or $8. I was the Brixton. I was not very pleased that I paid $8 for a beer, and they didn't have any cheap beer left because the people that were there drank it all before I got there. Yeah, the Front Page had like $2 Coronas on Thursday nights, and every time you buy a beer from 6 to 8 p.m., you get a ticket and you get free tacos. So,
The doctors are really
What
good.
kind of
$5
$5 it's really good too. But yeah, that's definitely a bar you should hit on at some point if you are 21.
He works for the MPD, so
Yeah.
make sure you're 21.
Yeah, make sure you're 21.
Any other recommendations?
I'm a foodie,
Yeah.
and I went to a lot of restaurants, and my bank account is paying for it. But there's so many like types of food here. Like I've had great Ethiopian food. There's a nice Indian restaurant Indigo right at the corner. It's kind of expensive, but it's good. I've tried like a lot of new foods, and that was nice. Also, like I was saying earlier, take those day trips. The Washington Center took us to Gettysburg. We've been to Baltimore. Like I said, I went to New York. I've been a couple other places too. So take advantage of you're close to a lot of things here. So
Metro does a pretty good job of getting you to all this, most of the sites and things like that. The museums are great, but I think some of the highlights for me were a couple of us rented a vehicle one day, and we went out to a park nearby, and we did Mount Vernon that way instead of public transit, things like that. Yeah, like I said, do the museums, but if there's certain things that you're interested in, you're gonna find anything here. So don't be afraid to stick Google and ask people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get involved with people who want to do things and leave your apartment. My roommates don't like to leave the apartment. They play video games all day, which is not what I do. Just try to get involved with a group of people that want to do the same things you do and experience the same things you do, and are interested in similar things that you're interested in.
I think I could rattle off 10 sites, but my favorite things that I think I did in DC were I gave every famous neighborhood a whole day, like a whole Saturday or a whole Sunday. You get food, you go see a museum or a tourist site, you take cool pictures, and then you go try to find something that the townies go to, the people who've been there for a while. So Georgetown I've actually been to 6 times. It's a great, large, beautiful neighborhood. Let's see, you do the monuments. I did them a little bit at a time. I rented bikes. It's a huge biking city, so if you're capable of bringing a bike here, we do have bike racks in the facility that I live in called the Raft, which is the big building. Bring your bikes because you can see a lot more on a bike than you can from the metro.
And save money on the metro.
And save money on the metro and good exercise. It's like what is it, the fittest city in the United States or something like that?
Yeah, and DC's not big, guys. It's only 10 miles by 10 miles, so it's really not a good place. There's a lot of people that live here.
So sorry. Couldn't see. StubHub. If you like to go see concerts, go sports ball, anything. If you like to do anything that requires a ticket, StubHub has been my best friend. It's gotten me into concerts that normally cost $120. If you buy it the day of, StubHub.com, I got it for $35, and it's a sold-out concert. Same thing with sports. If you like hockey, you all be getting here in primetime hockey season. Take advantage of StubHub. It's trustable, trustworthy, trustable. But StubHub's my best friend when I need to go get a ticket for something.
Groupon.
Groupon.
Taste of DC. When it comes around, so much. You get to sample all of these foods. And you buy tickets, and it's just great.
No, just like disclaimer, video games are bad. I don't play them either, but one thing I was gonna say is that it sounds like we've all had busy lives outside of this. I think yes, this is maybe gonna be a faster pace than college is for you and busier, but real life is actually like even more busy and you have less time for fun. So really, really take advantage of. You do have a lot of freedom here, and so just prioritize managing time. Don't play too many video games or watch too much Netflix. There's so much time here.
So speaking again, a constant theme I feel like has been managing your time and just kind of also taking advantage of your time while you're here. And we actually have a question from an audience member who's asking about those volunteer hours as well as the civic engagement aspect of it. So can you maybe talk a bit about how you fit those into your semester and what kinds of projects you've done?
Just take Saturday morning. There's a lot to do Saturday mornings, a lot of volunteer opportunities. Wake up. I know a lot of people don't like to hear it, but wake up early on a Saturday, go downtown, find a volunteer opportunity, do it till lunchtime. You only have 5 hours to do. It's really not that bad. But what makes it bad is when you wait till the last minute to try to get it done. So I did mine with an organization called DCA Honor Flight. So they fly in veterans from around the country who are unable to get here on their own to see the monuments, to see the war memorials. And basically you're a greeter. You greet them with flags when they come off the plane, shake their hands, say thank you, make posters, whatever. And then you go to the World War II monument, which is a beautiful monument. It's probably my favorite one in DC. And you just, you do the same thing. You thank the veterans, you shake their hands, you walk around, you talk to them, you try to get stories about, what things were like back then. That's how I did my hours. So.
Good. So I mentioned earlier, I run with an organization called Back on My Feet. You can run Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, but I just do Friday mornings and they're fine with that. And it's a really neat way to get to know people who are transitioning out of homelessness and to realize that they're doing these too. You don't have to be afraid of them or anything or distance yourself. You will notice that when you come here, there is a pretty prevalent homeless population, but they're so friendly. And then my official volunteer hours were with an organization called District of Columbia Building Industry Association. So we actually worked on an urban farm and we did landscaping for the afternoon. And yeah, I recommend get it out of the way early. You can always do more, but at least if you get your 5 hours out of the way, it frees up the rest of your weekends.
Okay, I just Googled like volunteer opportunities around here. There's always something going on. So I volunteered at the Meridian Hill Park, and I cleaned up the park. It's like from 10 to 12, so it wasn't too bad. I have a friend here that lives in Maryland, so I volunteered at the church, feeding college students. I volunteered at the DC Center for the LGBT community, so stuffed goodie bags with condoms and sexual health facts and things like that. And yeah, so it's really easy to find somewhere to volunteer. Definitely get it out of the way. And Yeah, doing on a Saturday morning there's stuff during the week too. When I went to the DC Center, it was like on Tuesday from like 7 to 8:30 or something like that. So whatever works for you, you'll be able to find something.
I waited until the last minute, so shame on me. TWC was great. Each of your alumni, residents slash RA sort of a thing, they all have their own civic engagement opportunities that they will kind of champion for you. So get in touch with your RA, and they will be able to help you out if you wait till last minute like I did. And I last minute Googled and I got to volunteer at a 5K, but I also got a chance here at TWC to read poetry of young felons, like juvenile offenders, and just kind of encouraging them. And it was a great opportunity, and I did it right here in the RAP, so I got very lucky.
Well, we're coming up to about 10 minutes until the end of our webinar. So I'm going to ask maybe 2 more questions from the audience, and then I'll have a final question for you. So we have a question coming in asking, have you ever done an internship before? And if you have, how would it compare to your TWC experience?
So real quick, I've done 3 internships before this. None of them were nearly as professional or as long. So my internships prior to this started small, like part-time at school, and then they grew until the summer where I worked 4 days a week in a congressional office. But TWC's professional experiences, I find on the whole, are very intensive. So if you want to get your hands down and dirty, you really want to understand the career field you're going into, if you land an internship within that field, it's a great opportunity, and you'll be fine. Just keep positive and get really into it.
I had one internship before, half-ish, but at an airport. It was like, the typical copies. So this internship has definitely been very beneficial for me. I think that I've grown professionally, and it's something that's a little different from what I was initially aiming at, in a sense, because it is like not a nonprofit. I really want to take that as a nonprofit. But this definitely feels like my writing skills. I write press releases and things like that. I've had published. I've learned buzzwords like business intelligence today and software as a service. But so it's been very beneficial. You'll definitely learn a lot.
I haven't done an internship before. I've worked a job, but internships are very good.
I did one full-time prior to this over the summer at my county prison. And I did a mini internship with my probation department as well. But by far, Washington Center is the best way to do an internship. They make it really easy for you. Katie was actually my advisor on the way in here. And they basically do everything for you and make all your connections for you at the start, and then it's up to you to decide which ones you want to apply for. But I have a lot of really cool stories that I was telling these guys earlier that I can't really tell over here. But yeah, this is a great way to do an internship with a lot of cool people and just have fun for a semester. My school is a very tough school, so to be able to relax for a semester and have fun doing some cool things it's pretty cool.
Okay, and so we kept alluding to it, but we do have a question about housing. So maybe talk a bit about kind of your roommate experiences, or just how you've enjoyed the housing experience in general, such as the community feel, whatever it may be.
I have great roommates. I got really lucky. If you ever seen the show Friends, it's kind of my life here. My neighbors are guys, and so we kind of have those open. It's great. We cook for each other. We have family dinner nights where I bring in 10 people because, including my roommate, there's a limit of 12. Don't worry, we're always under the limit. But we have family dinner nights on Tuesdays, Taco Tuesday. If you room, so there are 2, maybe 3 living options in TWC. I live in the largest community here in RAF, and I know Matt does too. I don't know where you guys live. But I love the RAF because in this building we have classrooms downstairs, and I'm one to always run late. So I can run right down the stairs, get in the elevator, get to class on time. I also just like being near everyone. I'm in one of the smallest apartments in the entire TWC experience, and I have to tell you, all my friends hang out in my room because you make it homey. And it's also larger than anything I've ever lived in college. So I'm very lucky. I love it. It is an effort to coordinate with your roommates because you all have busy schedules, but you'll make it work and stay positive and stay professional even when you live at home.
Yeah, not that pleasant, but it's okay. Definitely talk to your roommates, communicate, make sure that y'all know what all y'all want, what time things need to be done, what the temperature is. Apparently that's a huge issue. Get all of that hashed out in the beginning, and whenever something arises, be respectful and just handle it, when it first happens, and just be respectful. And it's okay, because some people and their roommates are really good friends, and some people aren't. They're just really good roommates. So that's okay. Sometimes that works better if they're not your best friend. But more than likely, they might be your first friend if you're here alone. But yeah, the facilities are great. We have a balcony, and I have a corner room, so it's just huge. And I have I have a big closet, and but I came from an on-campus apartment, so adjusting to where I have to share that much of my space was kind of hard for me. But you gotta compromise. My roommate she's afraid of the dark or something, so she has to sleep with her laptop on. And she'll put her headphones in, but the light kind of bothers me. So I just turn to the wall. You just gotta make compromises for things. So.
I'm over in Elevation, which is one of the, it's a nice building. I'm be there. There's other professionals and people not related to Washington either. One thing, my roommates, we get along really well. I would say my actual share a room with, we're the good roommates. We communicate, but it's not that friendship chemistry, whereas some of the other two are really together. And I think part of that is because we do try to communicate well. One tip that I want to give you, and I think that's what has helped us, is don't bend over backwards and clean everything up for your roommates. Don't be passive that way, but realize that you're always going to think that you've done more than everybody else on cleaning. So just assume that, and don't keep track. It's always better to just clean that person's glass rather than you can do that. It covers a multitude of little issues that I've seen with some people have big issues. So just be willing to go the extra mile and not.
I'm also in the rack. I live on the top floor in the corner room, which is probably the biggest apartment. It's a really nice apartment. Facilities are great. It's not a good gym, but
Sorry.
I mean, I played football, guys. I'm used to having heavier weights and everything. But for somebody who's just trying to stay in shape, it's a great facility. But my roommate situation is not good. I don't have a problem calling somebody out if they're wrong, and I think I made a lot of bad blood in my room by doing so. I don't clean up after people. If you make the mess, you clean up the mess. It's plain and simple to me. I mean, that's how I was raised. That's the way I do things in life. But my roommate has a tendency. I go to bed early. I mean, I go to bed at 10 o'clock, but I get up at 5. So my roommate has a tendency to like to take a shower every night at 1 o'clock in the morning. So we've had our lashings out about that. So when I had gotten up for search warrants at 4 o'clock in the morning, I managed to, stumble around, and accidentally slam the door.
Same.
But it all started out. The night he just decided to falling to my dad. I really don't know how that happened, but it just happens. You know, you win some, you lose some. So, but I mean, they are nice guys. I can't talk to them, but you know, it's they. Like I said, I talked about the video games before. That's just not me. I'm used to being outside all the time, working, and like manual labor for some reason is not fun. But I don't know. People look at me like I'm crazy when I say that, and I'm getting some weird looks across the room. That's okay.
Yeah. And if you're an international student, don't be afraid. I have an international roommate, and I'm one of the ambassadors here. So basically, if you're international and if you're worried about getting along with Americans, or maybe you're worried about your English, don't be afraid. Make that first jump. Be brave. We love, as I'm going to speak generally as Americans, we love when you try, and we want to meet you. We want to know you. We want to know about your culture. We want to know what you cook. And I think I'm so thankful that my roommate, who's from China, has taught me so many things. And I took her home for Thanksgiving and all her friends. So it's a lovely experience. If you're international, don't be afraid. Washington Center is a great place for you.
Yeah, don't be. I mean, like that's a lot of kids on my campus at home have a problem with that because the international kids tend to congregate together and never branch out. And then as a result, they feel as though the American students are snotty. As a result, the American students think they're snotty. You know, just, you know, branch out, talk to us. You know, I like to learn things. Learn different things about different people, different cultures. I think it's pretty cool. And they have, is it Global Citizenship Day? Is that what it's called? Yeah, that's a good way to, you know, teach other students here about your culture. They bring in a different speaker every year. I forget.
You have a talent show.
Yeah.
You have food and festivities. Great, so much food, dancing, singing. Being an international student must be a lot of fun. I didn't get to do it, and so kudos to you for being brave, and you're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
So let's close out. My last question for you, if you could, I'm going to switch it up. You could describe your TWC semester in one word. What would it be?
Can I say the 2 words?
Sure,
So,
two.
okay, so the slogan for TWC is Experience Transforms, and I have to say that it has been that for me. I've traveled a little bit quite a bit actually on my own over the last 7-8 years, abroad, like Europe, Asia, places like that, and yet coming to States, which is, I think, pretty similar to Canada. It has been an eye-opening experience. Yeah, not in a crazy way or anything, but just experience really does transform, and it's exciting. So,
I think I'd say, more than that.
yeah, sure.
Eye-opening. Definitely eye-opening.
Okay, I would say it's cumulative. Okay, so that might be like a school word and ew, gross. But I've worked for a long time in my field, and it took until coming to TWC and taking a little step outside of politics and learning more about the world and learning more about how everything works together within the realm of politics. It just took all of my prior experiences and has given me like a new passion and a new drive to continue into a new career path that's even bigger and broader than what I thought I would get into.
Okay, my word is fulfilling. Because I've been in school and I'm kind of ready to get out of school for now. Like I'll go to grad school, and it might sound bad, but I'm just I'm ready to work and like be an adult to an extent. I don't really want feels, but whatever, have to. And just experience life and stuff. And this semester has definitely given me a feel of that. If I was to come back and have a job, like the atmosphere of the job that I have, because I have met new people, I've made new connections here, so it will be just as enjoyable living here after I graduate as it has been for the semester. So it's been very fulfilling for me. It's a new motivation for me to finish this last semester and I'll back.
Yeah. If you guys, I guess, have any further questions, you can get in contact with Katie, and she can direct you to our contact information. If you have, questions, more deeper questions that, couldn't be discussed here this evening, or that you thought about after this webinar, just get in contact with them and they'll point you towards us. So.
Hi everyone. Sorry, the wizard behind the curtain in a way. My name is Kima. I'm an internship advisor, and this is me.
I'm Jopanda. I'm also an internship advisor.
So we've been the facilitators for the webinar, and so you might be familiar with some of us. First, I want to say thank you to our panelists who have been amazing, and I hope you all, really learned something, and that you're really more pumped to come to DC and join us. But just kind of as Matt had said, if you have questions, you can direct them to us. You can also email your internship advisor, and we're happy to help. We're going to be a resource for you. And just like these individuals were a resource tonight, you're going to have so many people supporting you. So any questions about DC living or anything like that, feel free to direct them to us. We can put you in contact with these individuals, and if there's anything else, just let us know. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much.
We are glad you joined us for this recorded pre-arrival program. Be sure to check out other recordings on the Pre-Arrival Experience YouTube channel. You can also tune into live streams by visiting the Pre-Arrival Experience webpage, sign up for an event to ask questions, and engage with TWC staff and panelists in real time. Go to the Pre-Arrival Experience link to learn more. And thank you once again for joining us.